non-linear way, all of this would be connected at once. So if an entity that sees something in a non-linear way had to have some or other influence in it, luckily they are also bound by some little aspect of linearness because they are disconnected from the source, the creator. So they would influence man from there to start fulfilling the malware, the virus is operating from the beginning until now where we are at present. And where we are at present, the malware is at its highest. The virus is so potentially big that no one realizes that everything around us is being controlled by outside influence, and we are powerless in our function on this planet. We are not following anything based on our Creator. We are not following any divine inspiration. We are simply going in the linear fashion, like sheep being herded into our little programs. And as said, without the connection, without the infilling of this soul with aspects, there is nothing. So without us applying our heart to feelings of love, kindness, I mean, these might sound simple things to you. Some religions have based their entire structure just on these, calling it karma or whatever, because they knew if they did this, just these couple of aspects, it would give them more to life. This is not even a divine connection yet, because they believe in a recycling system where they would go round and around and around until they have more of this to be able to handle everything. But on and on you can go with this side. So unless you start filling up this side, you will not be able to see the soul. Unless you start using your heart for the purpose it was given you, and really loving your neighbor as yourself. That's what the Lord says. The Lord says, love your neighbor as yourself. What's the most important commandment in the Bible? You shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart, your whole soul, your whole mind, and all your strength. Your little box that you are working with, this little me that is here. So then it says, love your neighbor as yourself. Why? Because you will have the realization that everything is interconnected. You will not be polluting everything, so it's like this big black cancer sitting on the earth. So if you start at the basics is, start loving, start caring, stop allowing the reasoning and the rational side to influence everything that you're doing, because it cannot explain what's going on. It cannot fix it. The source of fixing this is beyond it. And in order to get beyond it, you need to start employing your feeling side. And if you don't employ your feeling side, you are shutting it down. And if you're shutting it down, you are just opening it up to the manipulative sides, which are forcing your system to rationalize everything and put it in a little linear pattern, which is influenced by the timeline running to be where we are. So unless we wake up to get out of this little picture here, the cancer will eat us up. So most of you would be thinking I'm like half insane in my explanation here, because you're only functioning on the rational side of things. But the ones that have got the spark going in them and are trying to nourish it, those will get some kind of picture of what's going on here. Now, most of you won't comprehend how bad this really is, because you won't even be able to realize what I've been telling you, because of the malware and the viruses running in you. If that is the case, and you are denying any light from entering into your mind, into your reason, that is your choice. That is what you have chosen. This is your little box. And this little box will pass sooner or later. And your little drive will just get backed up into the system. It won't go on to everlasting life. It will just be backed up, run into a chip, and just keep in its loop. Hell, as some term it. So, unless you start nourishing your soul and your heart There's no way you're going to understand this. And if you're trying to rationalize what I've told you and you're not listening with the non-rational side, with the spirit, with the little gene that's been put in you to actually seek God. Don't seek me, this is just part of the picture. Seek God, because only through connection with Him do you break out of this pattern. If you continue in this pattern, the same result over and over again. The cancer just increases until there is no more little spot. So unless you seek God to be with Him, to get outside of this box, to not be tied into this box and be influenced by whatever is doing it, unless you can see beyond this and have the power flowing into you, that's where you're heading. And I mean, any person on this earth, as said previously, you're an individual, you're a unique entity, and you can only grow by truly connecting to God yourself. So no person on this earth can give you all the answers. This isn't all the answers. This is just like a couple of keys, a little bit of a line to show you what is going on. But in order to really work with what is here and to make it do something in your life, you have to personally go and take whatever is here, put it in your life, work with it. How do I start loving? How do I stop being selfish and taking everything I can lay my hands on? How do I get beyond that? Oh, it's so difficult. I'm tied in this work. I have limited income. I have the economic pending doom on me. I don't have a job. Because you allowed the cancer in the first place. You allowed the cancer in you. The malware and everything is operating in you. You cannot choose to go, oh, help me. So what are you doing? You're dying with the cancer. And even if you are blessed and you have a wonderful life, as said, full of physical vibrancy, full of mental clarity, that's not even the average age. The average age nowadays is something like 50 or 60. This is if you're blessed. If you're super blessed, maybe 100. I mean, if you look at the Bible, for example, before this timeline was so disrupted, Moses climbed a mountain when he was 120. He didn't have diseases. He didn't go up there with help or anything. He went up there on his own because he was tied to God. That was his power. And when he knew it was time to die, he went into the cave and he just lied down, and it was peaceful. It wasn't heart attacks and cancer slowly eating him up, genetic deterioration, all of these rational things we've introduced. So if you want to escape the pain, even the economic pain that you currently have, even the religious pain, any structure or black cancer in your life can only be cancelled out if you allow light into it. Because unless you allow light into the system, it cannot flourish. It's being infected by the cancer and just being multiplied. Your drive is fragmented and you cannot operate. You don't have consciousness. Therefore I say a lot of you won't even see this picture. But go and think about it. Because the more you apply your mind to it, that is another interesting thing about this key. The more you apply your mind to it, the more your mind forces your rationality to look into that direction. And the more you look into that direction, the more you realize, but I'm being eaten up. I'm not even enjoying life. I'm being eaten up. Everything I have is being taken away from me. So unless you seek God, there is no way out of it. And that's your choice.